Hello, and welcome to The Pool is Abstract, where we're currently rewatching and dissecting the revived series of Doctor Who, episode by episode. My name is Connor, and with me is the woman I'd hop to another universe for. It's Charlotte. Hello. Charlotte.
Hello.
It's the big one today.
It is. There's a two-parter today.
Yeah, apologies for the delay as well.
Yeah. Life.
We've been meaning to put this up for like a fortnight, and stuff happens. So it's up now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah. So this is Series 2, Episodes 12 and 13. They're called Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, respectively. They aired on July 1st and July 8th, 2006. Both written by your boy, Russell T Davies. How do you feel about this as a finale in comparison to Series 1?
I mean, that's quite an open question.
It is an open question. I mean, in terms of you've openly stated that you're not the biggest fan of Russell's writing. And even I feel like a lot of Russell's big supporters will say they like his writing, they like the way he runs the show, but he tends to drop the ball a little on the finales.
Yeah. I would say I think this is, I'll say, my favourite series finale of his.
Okay.
Full stop.
That's fair enough.
I mean, we're currently watching the new season with Shooty.
Yeah.
And
We're yet to see this finale.
we're yet to see this finale, so that may overtake it. But so far from his whole sweep, I know that's
His
probably,
whole pantheon.
I know that's quite controversial because I know a lot of people like series
To be honest,
4.
I don't think it is. I think Series 4, I know obviously people like it because it's got the whole fan service stuff of everyone coming back, but in terms of writing, I know some people do have qualms with it. I would say if you did a poll for the first Russell T Davies era and you said which series has the best finale, I would have thought that this would take the cake.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. This episode, obviously written by Russell, also directed by Graham Harper, who was last seen on the pod when he did Rise of Cybermen and Age of Steel. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Thematic through line. He also directed a couple of episodes of Classic Who as well. He did The Caves of Androzani and Revelation of the Daleks. And he also did a couple of episodes of Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh.
Sarah Jane Adventures, he did Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane.
Oh.
He did The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith. And he did Enemy of the Bane. Those are pretty good ones.
They are pretty good.
Yeah. So I think this is the team. Not only do we have a good director, we've got Russell kind of at the top of his game here in terms of like series finale writing. I feel like this, I mean, we might get into this a little more later, but I feel like this is when David Tennant feels like the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
This is the first time where I'm like, yes, that's him. I feel like he's had this kind of growth over this series. And then this is the first time where he feels like just everyone's firing on all cylinders at this point, and everything just kind of like matches up. But yeah, do you have anything you want to say about this, like, without spoilers?
Nothing at all.
No? Nothing?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we'll get into it. So, it's just like so melodramatic. I'm just reading my notes. So Army of Ghosts opens with Rose narrating.
I know. The first note
This is
I
the story of how I died.
Yeah.
Is it though?
It really isn't.
I know what you mean.
That's
I'm sure we'll get into this later, but
I'm not gonna lie,
that's
if-
my biggest qualm with this, is how many times this is repeated. You had the whole thing from the Satan Pit, which is like, your soldier will die in battle and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but it didn't happen though, did it?
no.
Like,
But on
technically.
on paper, yeah.
Yeah. So Rose is narrating. She says her life changed when she met the Doctor. He showed her the universe, taking her on a journey that she thought would last forever. We get a couple flashbacks, don't we? We get the bit where Eccleston grabs her hand and goes, run! And they do their run. We get that bit where they're like standing on like some kind of alien planet, and the Doctor's like, how long are you going to stay with me? And she's like, forever. And then they just like smile and hold hands, and I'm like...
Do you think he was like, great?
No, I was thinking, it was only last episode in Fear Her when she was like, nothing's ever going to split us apart, is it? And he's like, never say never.
Yeah. I like the fact that she's just is her sitting on a bus and she's like, nothing at all happened to me in my 19 years of life. And I'm like, I'm
Nothing.
sure something happened. Maybe not to
Yeah.
this extent.
Yeah, where she says, then came the army of ghosts, Torchwood, and the war. this is the story of how I died. It's not, though. Yeah.
Maybe how she died inside.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Is that the cold open? Is it just that?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then after the titles, do you know what? I didn't write this down as a note, but off the top of my head, I feel like, well, technically it'll be Doomsday the next part, but this will be the last time we have to look at that silver logo. Before they fixed it.
I don't even know how to comment on that. Okay.
Yeah, so after the titles and the episode begins for real, the TARDIS lands in a playground on the Powell estate. The Doctor and Rose are going to visit Jackie.
Yeah, she runs out the TARDIS with her big backpack and she's ready.
Jackie's happy to see them both, isn't she? She runs over and she gives Rose a hug and then she grabs the Doctor and like snogs him.
Yeah, she calls him her lovely big fella.
She gives him a snog. It's funny then, because then she starts talking to Rose. You see the Doctor walk into the room and he like uses the back of his hand to like wipe his mouth.
Yeah.
He's like, ugh.
Yeah, she kisses him twice. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. She slapped him last time.
Yeah. And Rose is like, oh, I've got so much washing for you.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, so everything's all happy and nice and lovely until Jackie tells Rose that her grandfather, Grandad Prentice, is coming by any minute.
I know this is really bad, and it doesn't. I don't know why, but Grandad Prentice just made me laugh.
What, because of his name?
Yeah, Grandad Prentice. I don't know why. Just my broken humour. Just.
Isn't Prentice what I swear that's the name of one of the characters in Under the Lake Before the Flood. You know when they go back in time and I can't remember what they call that species that are like cowardly, the David Walliams species.
David Walliams species.
You know the one I'm on about, the ones who like being like dominated.
Yeah,
I'm aware of how that sounded. Okay. Yeah, there's one of them in Under the Lake Before the Flood, and I'm pretty sure his name was Prentice.
I think his first name's Prentice, though, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, Jackie says, your granddad's coming, and Rose is like, oh my god, she's lost it.
Oh.
She says to the Doctor, Grandad Prentice has been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think this is like, it does a good job setting up that thing of like, yo, what is going on?
Yeah, because again, that would be your reaction, wouldn't it? You'd be like,
well, yeah,
because if your parents did that, you'd be like, oh great, and then walk off, and you'd be like, oh god.
Things the way Jackie handles it is so weird as well, because she doesn't say like, oh my god, you've missed so much. These ghosts appear, and I swear, like granddads have come in. She doesn't say that. She says like, oh yeah, he'll be on any minute.
Yeah.
And it's like she's acting as if like that doesn't need explaining.
Yeah. Maybe she's forgotten. She hasn't told Rose about all this.
Yeah. But yeah, Rose is like, oh my god, she's lost it. She's like, he'll be here any minute. And she's standing in the kitchen, and then you see this kind of blurred ghost-like figure appear in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's at 10 past the hour. She seemed to know exactly when he'd be there.
Yeah.
And he just kind of stands there not doing much.
I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I know the Doctor literally says about this. But I don't know how she jumped to that it was Grandad Prentice.
Yeah.
Because when I first watched this, and even on a rewatch, because it's been a while since we watched it, I forgot how the ghosts looked.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a human shape, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean...
it could have been anybody. It
the
could be
Doctor
someone
does
could have
kind of-
died in the flat before she came. Like,
She lives in the haunted flat.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the Doctor does kind of like say something later, doesn't he? But yeah, I think it's just Jackie. It's just another sad element to Jackie Tyler's character.
Yeah.
So outside, the Doctor and Rose see more ghosts. They're everywhere, just walking around.
Torchwood theme.
Yeah, I like the theme. It's good. Things by this point they would have known that the series was coming as well.
Yeah.
And it's funny as well because obviously Jack went on to become this like big recurring character, but he wasn't at this point. So Jack was just a popular character from series 1 that got a spin-off.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that he would be coming back for the show at all. So yeah, I just like this, like, yeah, the kind of sowing the seeds here of that little Torchwood theme that would go on to be the main theme of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are going on about their lives. No one's really bothered about the ghosts. Jackie says they won't be around long. The midday ghost shift only lasts a couple minutes. So I was like, ghost shift?
She's like, oh, he's not happy when I know more.
Yeah, when I know more than him, he's not happy, is he? And at 12 past, somewhere else in London, we see a technician pull back a lever and the ghosts all start to fade away. And this is when we see Yvonne Hartman step out of her office and say that they measured the ghost energy at 5,000 gigawatts, and she congratulates her staff.
Yeah.
I like Yvonne Hartman, not as a not as a person. Awful lady. I like her as a character though.
Is she that? Well, I mean, she's not that awful.
She's not awful as in like evil, but she's just like. Imagine her being your boss. I'd hate that.
I mean, I wouldn't be that bothered. She seems like she'd be preoccupied on other stuff. She'd be like, she'd just be off doing
she
something
does let
else.
those two go off for a snog session. So like,
She wasn't even there. That's what I mean. She just walked off. So
No, she
just
did know,
clacking on the keyboard.
no, she did know, didn't she? Because they say like, oh, just go into the toilet or whatever, and then she's like, yeah, that's fine, and then she's like, they think we don't know.
Yeah.
That's a little later though, but yeah, she congratulates her staff. And now we cut to Jackie's flat. The Doctor's watching TV. I always love it when the Doctor watches TV. Do you remember when this happened in Aliens of London?
This is so weird.
And he's flicking to the TV, and like Blue Peter's like, we're going to make an alien spaceship.
I feel like this goes on a little long, though. There's so many... It's like...
It's Ghost Watch.
It's like Exo Shine. Is your ghost looking a little dull?
Yeah, I don't know what that's meant to be.
It's like the ghosts are only there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
You're gonna buy a bottle to spray it.
This is implied to have only been happening for like a couple months.
Yeah,
and yet someone's developed a product, got it to the market, and got an advert on the TV.
it's just window lean, but they've stuck Exo Shine on it.
Just put the Ghostbusters logo on it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I like EastEnders.
We cut to EastEnders, don't we? Peggy Mitchell. She throws the ghost of Den Watts out of the pub.
Get out!
She says, the only spirits we serve are gin, whiskey, and vodka.
That is good. I like that.
If you want a bit of behind the scenes, Dirty Den from EastEnders in real life is married to Tracy Ann Oberman, who plays Yvonne.
Oh, that's weird. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so the Doctor's just kind of like cycling through the news and he just sees all this stuff. We find out like the ghost phenomenon is like international. It's not just in the UK. It's happening everywhere. And people have just kind of accepted it as a normal thing.
Yeah.
They're all over the world. They're in Paris. They're outside the Taj Mahal and they're just kind of vibing.
Yeah. Jackie mentions that 3 months back that they showed up and everybody panicked, but when they noticed they kind of didn't do anything, they just were there.
Yeah.
They just thought they were peaceful.
And she's like, oh yeah, they must be the spirits of our departed loved ones. It makes me laugh though. She's like, don't you think that's beautiful? And the Doctor goes, I think it's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way David like delivers that line is very funny to me.
Oh.
Jackie says the ghost she calls her father smells like the cigarettes he used to smoke. Rose says she couldn't smell anything though.
No.
And Jackie's like, oh, you have to make an effort. And the Doctor says, yeah, that's the problem. The more you want it, the stronger it gets.
Oh, and the way she says, you're spoiling it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like this poor woman, her daughter's left, and she's all on her own.
I know you didn't watch it because me and Rob covered it, but I think after Love and Monsters, with Jackie's whole like.
Yeah, she's...
So I know you've seen the episode, but obviously it's not as fresh in your mind. But yeah, Jackie's got a really sad like subplot in there about how when Rose goes away, her life just seemingly gets put on hold and everything.
Yeah.
And she finds this one thing that makes her happy, and then just say, you're spoiling it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so sad. It's like she just wanted the thought of a loved one she knows coming round every day.
Yeah. The Doctor says, these ghosts aren't your loved ones. They're using people's desires and beliefs to press themselves into existence.
Yeah.
And this is when we cut to Torchwood Tower. Yvonne contacts Dr. Singh, Rajesh.
Before we get to that, I just made a little note because they're talking about the Doctor saying that these things aren't human. And then Jackie and Rose are like, Oh, but they're human shaped.
Yeah.
So's the Doctor.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are human shaped. Doesn't make it human.
Yeah.
Like,
Silly.
yeah.
Torchwood Tower, Yvonne contacts Dr. Singh on like Bluetooth earpieces they've got. All the staff wear them. And she asks him if he's registered any reaction. He says nope. He says their most sophisticated instruments haven't been able to read anything off the sphere. He says, the sphere is like a big like bronze orb that's just kind of like floating. The way they like, it's obviously like a CG thing, but it's cool the effect they do, because it's like, they say that it makes you uncomfortable to look at because it doesn't give off anything. It's got no mass, no weight, no heat, no touch. It just gives off nothing, and that makes it uncomfortable to look at. And yeah, the CG effect of it, like, it's nothing like, I don't know, really intricate. It's just, it might even be an accident because the CG's a little wonk, but there is something looking at it where you're like, something's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to their readings, he says it doesn't exist, and he goes to like touch it, but then he kind of like,
he's like, ah.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's like a barrier that stops him or if he just kind of like changes his mind last minute, like he doesn't want to touch it. I don't know. Here's a fun fact. Russell T. Davies based Yvonne on a female acquaintance who boasted about her interpersonal skills in spite of her complete lack of empathy. I thought you'd like that one.
Yeah.
I feel like we all know someone like that.
That's so... The fact that he's come out with that, though. Do you think people in his life are going to be like, is that me?
So this is when we see two Torchwood workers, Adiola, played by Freema Agyeman.
It's Martha.
No, it's not. It's Adiola. and Gareth.
Yeah.
They're flirting over email.
Yeah.
They agree to meet up in like another area for a snog.
Oh, I hate that word. I hate it.
He's like, it's not worth it for a snog. He's like, yeah, it is.
Oh.
Gareth suggests going to like an off-limits area that's like under renovation in the building. Adiola's like, I'm not too sure. But Gareth goes in and then just goes quiet.
Yeah, he says, oh, the building men are like, I know, out for lunch or gone off for something. And there's like two of them standing outside that kind of watch her walk in. It's a bit sus, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I would have done it.
Yeah. She's like, come on, Gareth, we got to go back to work. And she goes in to look for him, and she gets attacked by a Cyberman. He kind of lunges at her and she screams, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's funny because they play this like mystery, like, ooh, what is it? Even though everyone's wearing the ear pods from Rise of the Cybermen. It's playing the Cybermen theme. And we see the Cyberman's arm.
And you see the shape of it as well, like the head.
Yeah.
It's really...
It's like, I can't tell if it's meant to be a surprise or not.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if it is, it's not done well. So the Doctor's building a device to work out the ghost's origin. He's going to try and like triangulate it. So he kind of builds this thing in the TARDIS. He puts it on like a backpack. He goes, I ain't afraid of no ghost.
This is terrible.
Rose goes, Ghostbusters. He's like, who are you going to call?
Oh.
Starts leaving the TARDIS.
I hate that. Jackie mentions that Leeds has a ghost MP.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When the Doctor's flicking through the TV earlier, isn't there someone on like Jeremy Kyle or something?
Yeah,
she's like, I love him. He's my ghost.
Yeah. I plan to marry him, and the audience are like, oh, clapping. It's like these things are out for 2 minutes every day. It's
so true, though. Like that is what the world is like.
Yeah, it is.
So Rose asks if the ghost might be related to the Gelth, and the Doctor's like, no. He says the Gelth were just coming through the rift where these ghosts are forcing themselves into existence across the world. And it's funny, though, because she's like, it's going to be the Gelth, could it? As soon as the Doctor's like, no, she's like, all right, fine. She's like, oh, I know stuff. And then as soon as the Doctor's like, yeah, no, that's not right. She looks really cheesed off. So he sets up this device in the park. He's got like a bunch of traffic cones and everything set up. And Rose is monitoring the energy levels in the TARDIS. Back over at Torchwood Tower, Yvonne starts the next ghost shift. Gareth and Adiola have now returned to their desks, now wearing two earpieces.
God, this How does nobody notice this? Like, why are you wearing two?
They're just so hip.
They're so clunky, these earpieces as well.
Yeah,
so bulky.
We said this, didn't we, in the Cybermen 2 part? They don't look like the Apple EarPods. They're not like sleek. They're so like bulky and like grey and just in the TARDIS, this is when Jackie just dresses Rose down for no reason. She says like, "You changed a lot," and Rose is like, "Oh, maybe it's for the better." And she's like, I don't know, though. What's going to happen to you when I'm gone? You're going to have no reason to come back. You're just going to keep travelling and changing until you're no longer Rose Tyler. You're not even human. It's like, all right, Jackie.
It's fair,
She's
though.
like, you're going to be this weird old woman.
Walking through a random market, looking at this. Oh, because, Rose gets her a gift, doesn't she?
Yeah. It's like something that, like, tells her the weather. Like, when it's cold, it's going to rain or something. Yeah, but I'm just like, all right, Jackie, chill out.
To be fair, she's
Rose. I can remember Rose is 20 years old.
She's really different, though. She is. She's a completely different person, and I feel like she's changed even more since the Doctor's changed.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But again, I think there's a difference between saying like you've changed a lot and saying you're not even human. You're not going to be recognisable. You're going to be this weird old lady in a market on some moon.
Oh, I thought she was going to mention about like when she gets older, she's going to change so much that when Jackie sees her, that she won't even recognise her, kind of thing. Like if she goes away for too long.
Yeah.
But no.
No, she doesn't. So yeah, the Torchwood machines are now powering up and the ghosts appear, as you'd expect. And the Doctor manages to trap one in his device, and he pops on a pair of 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And he's kind of looking at it. He's like, come on, where have you come from? And he adjusts the controls, and when he does that, Torchwood pick up the signal. So Yvonne orders the ghost shift to end. She's like, someone's interfering. So they turn it off. But the Doctor's managed to trace the energy source for the ghosts to Torchwood. But Torchwood have also traced the interference to the powerless state.
Yeah.
So they kind of access some like CCTV cameras, and they find the TARDIS, and Yvonne recognises it.
She's like, oh, it's him.
It's him. Yeah, she realises the Doctor's probably already on his way, and she runs off really like excitedly.
Yeah.
She's like, ooh,
he's coming.
He clacks her heels off.
Yeah. The Doctor says, allons-y.
He does, for the first time.
Yeah.
That's his first time saying it.
He does say it a couple of times.
Yeah. But that's... Because he says, he's like, oh, I like that. I need to say that more often. Alonzi. What if I meet someone called Alonzo? I can say Alonzi, Alonzo. Yeah, that'll obviously go on to be his catchphrase. Yeah, the TARDIS dematerializes, and he's saying all this to Rose about, oh, yeah, that I can meet someone called Alonzo, say Alonzi, Alonzo. And then Rose is like, my mum is on board. He turns around, she's like, if we end up on Mars, I'm going to kill you.
She's just sat on like...
She sat on the ladder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jackie a lot.
Oh, bless her. She's just so sick of this shit, man.
I know, that's the thing, like...
She's so sick of him. She's like, I like you when you bring my daughter back, but I'm so fed up of you doing your stuff.
I don't know if you count Wilf, but I feel like of all the companions' parents... or family figures that tie them to Earth, Jackie's my favourite, I think.
I mean, there aren't many, are there?
Well, obviously you got Mickey to a degree until he becomes a companion. You got Martha's entire family.
Yeah, but...
You got Wilf and Sylvia Noble.
Sylvia.
You got Brian, Rory's dad.
Oh, yeah, but we don't get to see him for quite a while.
No, but he exists.
Yeah. Obviously, Amy doesn't have parents until she does.
And then they might as well not exist again.
Yeah.
Bill's foster mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, like with Ruby now, you got Carla, Cherry, and Louise.
Yeah.
Belinda, we've not met her parents yet, but I know what you mean. Like, we haven't got many, but like, I don't know. I just like Jackie a lot.
Yeah, like, I do like Jackie.
I think she's very funny.
She's fleshed out as well.
And yeah, she is fleshed out. She's not just... Because that's the problem I have, like, with like, Ruby's mum, Carla. Like, I like her, but I don't really know much about her other than the fact that she just adopts a bunch of children.
Yeah.
She takes care of kids, but that's all I know. Where Jackie feels very fleshed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, the TARDIS, it lands in Torchwood Tower and is surrounded by a bunch of armed guards. Mm-hmm. The Doctor tells Jackie and Rose to stay inside, and he pops out with his hands up in the air.
Rose is like, I'll come with you. He's like, no, look after Jackie. She's like, I'm not looking after her. He's like, you brought her.
He's like, you kidnapped me. Yvonne runs in and she's like applauding with the squad.
Love this.
She's like clapping her hands with her arms like straight like in front of her, and she's like clapping.
And then all the guards start clapping as well.
Yeah, the Doctor and the TARDIS, and they're like
Hooray!
clapping. And the Doctor looks so uncomfortable. Yeah. So yeah, she greets him, and she seems to know a lot about him, including the fact that he always travels with a companion. He's like, so where is she? And the Doctor reaches into the TARDIS and he pulls Jackie out. He's like, here she is, Rose Tyler. He's like, she stared into the heart of the time vortex in age 57 years.
She's like, I'm 40.
Deluded.
That's so good.
Yeah. So Rose is like staying in the TARDIS now. She's like hiding and she's like watching through the scanner. And Yvonne kind of walks off with the soldiers, the Doctor and Jackie, and she basically introduces them to Torchwood.
Yeah.
I think this is where we get more of the Torchwood theme.
You want about when they see the big warehouse?
Yes.
My God. I put my notes. It's welcome to Torchwood, and then just the most grand, over-the-top music for just a warehouse. It's like, I expected a little bit more, but it's just a warehouse. Like...
What do you think about the Torchwood music?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah, okay.
It's funky.
Funky. You describe everything as funky. Everything you like is funky.
No, that's not true.
It's groovy.
It's groovy.
Yeah, so she shows the Doctor around, and he can see that they've got a bunch of like alien technology and stuff, and advanced technology that they've like reverse engineered, stuff they've captured from alien ships, things like that. And she says the Institute's motto is, if it's alien, it's ours. And that's when the Doctor sees that they're taking the TARDIS away.
Yeah, she's saying that stuff have like violated their airspace, and therefore it's out.
So we shoot it down. Yeah, because they see the Jatha sun glider. She's like, it violated our airspace, so we shot it down. The weapon system that destroyed the Sycorax on Christmas Day, that was us. And she's like really proud of it, and the Doctor's like...
She's like, Torchwood equals people skills.
Yeah. Do you know what bothers me? And this isn't a thing with this episode, this is a thing with the show in general. The TARDIS, right? It's implied that the TARDIS is heavy.
Yeah, really heavy.
Because it's got another dimension in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes people can just pick it up.
Yeah. They pick it up quite quickly. And people, in the future future episodes when they just crane it.
Yeah, I can't remember. There is a line. I can't remember which episode it's in, but there's a line where the Doctor says something like, if the TARDIS landed with its true weight, the Earth would just shatter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine. But then sometimes it's like, it seems to be like an immovable force. But then sometimes, you can just put it onto the back of a sack truck and carry it off.
Yeah.
You can just lift it up with a forklift and just... Anyone with a forklift license can just move it. So now, Adiola, with her two earpods, she lures her co-worker, Matt, over to the cordoned off area they were at before, and she tells him to go in and just go towards the red light. And he's like, why? What is it? And she's like...
too curious, isn't he? She's like, follow me, I've got something to show you. And he's like, what? She's like,
that'd be you.
Follow me.
All you'd have to do to lure you in there is go, I've got something to show you. Actually, never mind. And you go, what? What is it? And I'm like, no, never mind. I shouldn't tell you. What is it? That's all it would take.
Rude. Not untrue, but rude.
Yeah. So he goes in towards the red light, and he disappears behind like a plastic curtain, and he screams as you see a bunch of like sparks fly. Adiola's not phased.
No.
She just turns around and just seems pleased with herself and walks away. And Matt returns to his post a little later with an extra earpiece. What?
I just like the idea of these Cybermen just have like a bunch of spare earpieces.
Just blinging them up.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, meanwhile, Yvonne reveals that the Doctor was written into the original Torchwood Foundation Charter in 1879 as an enemy of the Crown. Mm-hmm. After his encounter with Queen Victoria and the werewolf, doesn't that feel like ages ago?
Yeah.
The Queen created the Torchwood Institute to protect Britain against aliens. And yeah, the Doctor's a little annoyed that she marked him as an enemy, given all he did to save her life.
Yeah.
Like, talk about gratitude.
She's like, if I'm an enemy, does that make me a prisoner? She's like, yes.
She's like, oh, yes. But don't worry, we'll make you comfortable. Yeah. And she hopes that Torchwood will learn a lot from him. So she leads him to the room with the sphere. Mm-hmm. He examines it with his 3D glasses, and he identifies it as a void ship. He says it's kind of like a hypothetical craft for traveling through the nothingness between the parallel universes. The void is like the space in between. The Time Lords called it the Void, the Eternals called it the Howling, others called it Hell. Yeah. What?
I feel like that little, and others called it Hell is only put in there for like the
Not for Mickey to have his line later.
Yeah. I'd just like to note here that Rajesh is there. And he meets the Doctor, and he's like, "Oh, it's great to meet you." And he puts his hand out, and the Doctor just leaves him hanging.
To be honest, I see that more as the Doctor being like enamored by the sphere rather than being rude.
I mean, to be fair, even if he wasn't, he's like, "I'm not shaking your hand. You've kidnapped me."
Fair enough.
You said you caught me as prisoner. I'm not.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, the Doctor says you could wait out the end of the universe in the void, never being affected by time or space because they don't exist there. And Singh says, how can they get into the sphere? The Doctor's like, you can't. Why would you want to?
Yeah.
He says they should send it back to where it came from. And Yvonne says the void ship came through to Earth and the ghost came after. She shows him where it came through. It's one of the walls opposite her office. And she says when they fire particle engines at the spot, the breach opens. They detected the spatial disturbance as a radar black spot years ago and built Torchwood Tower to reach it. The public know the skyscraper as part of Canary Wharf. Because Jackie looks out the window, doesn't she? She's like, hold on, this is Canary Wharf. She's like, yeah, that's what the public know it as, yes.
I like the Doctor said, because she says about where the sphere and everything comes through. And the Doctor marches, he's like, okay, let's go see it. And he marches out the room and then goes the wrong way.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, Doctor.
Yeah. He's got such swagger in his step.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Doctor tells her off basically. He's like, oh, so you see this breach in time space coming along. You think, oh, should we play it safe? Should we leave it alone? Nah, let's make it bigger. And he warns her to cancel the next shift. And she's like, no, we're not going to do that. And he's like, look, let me show you. And he goes over to like a piece of glass by the office. And he starts doing like a demonstration. So he sonics the glass and then it makes a big like crack, like a spider's web crack in it.
In the O in Torchwood. I think this is quite cool. I like how this is done.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, so when the sphere came through, it cracked the surface of this dimension. The ghosts have been bleeding through the cracks from their world into yours. But too many ghosts. And he kind of like taps the glass and it just shatters into a million pieces.
Yeah.
And Yvonne just goes, well, I guess we'll have to be extra careful. And then just like goes to carry on anyway. And the Doctor's like, I'm warning you, like basically cancel the shift. And she's like, no. And then he just goes, okay. And she's like, I'm sorry. He just goes, okay, yeah, fine. And just sits down.
And she just looks at him like, you're not going to...
Yeah, she's like, you can't stop us, Doctor. He's like, no, absolutely not. Yeah, crack on. Have a seat, Rose. Come on. Watch the fireworks.
I just love how he's just like, I can't get to this woman. I'm just going to psych her out.
I think this is where the 10th Doctor being more human works.
Yeah.
Because this is him, he knows exactly how to manipulate these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
And yeah, the countdown's going down. And eventually Yvonne stops her like the last minute. She's like, cancel the shift. And he's like, thank you. And she says, I guess it would be smart to get more information first.
She's like, oh, they did warn that the Doctor makes a mess. Someone clean up this glass.
Yeah. When they go into her office, Adiola, Matt and Gareth, they restart the countdown. What?
Oh, you just jump.
No, I'm going back now.
Okay.
They do that because we come back to that later, but they do start clacking away at their keyboards here. So this is when Rose leaves the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that match up with your notes?
Yeah. I'm just. You do it in such a way. I'm trying to. No, so many pieces.
Them clacking the keyboards happens there, but it's just we cut back to it later when everyone notices.
Yeah, because I've got in my notes that the Rose has watched. Obviously, she'd seen through the little door.
Yeah.
As she'd gone past with the Doctor, and now she's deciding to play the Doctor. She finds the psychic paper.
She's having her own flatline moment.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, she leaves the TARDIS. She finds a lab coat, doesn't she?
Yeah, I put a little note here. I think she could have done better here.
Yeah, she's not good at this. She goes into the Doctor's coat first, and she grabs the psychic paper.
Yeah.
And then she leaves, puts on the lab coat, and she makes her way to like the room with the void ship.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't know about you. I could be wrong. I don't know what the people in Torchwood wear. But the fact that she's wearing a bright blue hoodie and hoop earrings, I feel like it's a little bit of a giveaway.
Oh man, 2006.
Because when she steps out, I think she hasn't got a disguise. Like, what's she doing? And she finds a lab coat and puts it on. I'm like, well, I guess that's something.
Genius.
It's something, I guess.
That's right. She's got the psychic paper. No need to worry about it. The Doctor walks around everywhere in a pinstripe suit. Yeah, so she uses the psychic paper to get through the door to the room of the void ship, and she tries to show it to Rajesh, Dr. Singh.
One thing I've put here is, psychic paper is a key pass.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. I feel like it's been used like that before.
I guess it shows it what it wants to see.
If a machine is programmed to read like a certain type of ID, I guess technically the psychic paper will show it that. I don't know how psychic a machine can be, but I guess if it wants to read something, the paper can show it.
Only something I get confused at.
This is one of those things, though, isn't it? The psychic paper, sometimes, like, if I show you the psychic paper, sometimes it shows you what you want to see, and sometimes it shows you what I want you to see.
Yeah.
So it depends on who's writing.
Yeah. The only thing I get a little bit confused at is the next bit, but continue.
Okay. So, she tries to show her psychic paper to Dr. Singh, and he says, all Torchwood personnel have received basic psychic training. This paper's blank.
Yeah.
And you're a fake.
Yeah. Fake. She's like, oh. If all Torchwood people have received psychic training, you'd think they would have a better system to hide the sphere than a system that could be tricked by psychic paper.
I don't know if, like, what can you do?
I don't know.
Like, they can see through psychic paper, but what are you going to do? Like,
fingerprints?
But you could do that with psychic paper, couldn't you?
Could you?
Surely. You could just think, put this person's fingerprints on there. Surely.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So he calls for security, and he tells his assistant Samuel to check the locks. You go, checking it now, sir. And Samuel turns around. It's Mickey Smith. And he gives Rose a little shush.
Yeah.
Like a little shh. And Rajesh contacts Yvonne, and he tells her about Rose, intruder in the sphere room. And Yvonne basically threatens to have Rose shot.
Yeah.
He's like, is this one of yours? He's like, never seen her before in my life. She's like, oh, good. So we can have her executed. And he's like, worth a shot. He's like, that's Rose Tyler.
And Jackie's like, he kidnapped me.
Yeah, she's like, who's that? He's like, and she's like, I'm her mother. Oh, you travel with her mother.
Like, he's like, when you write the documents of me, don't put that I travel with.
Yeah, please don't put I travel with her mother. She's like, oh, he's like, I've got a reputation to uphold. Also, at this point, in the long shot, when this is when Yvonne notices that the Ghost Shift program's powering up again, and she goes up to check it out, and the Doctor stands up to follow her. This one knows that glass that you smashed is fixed.
Oh no. Well, let's hope that they were just.
It was a really quick repair job.
Yeah. They knew the Doctor was coming, so they had spare parts.
Yeah, but that entire panel that you smashed is just there again.
Oh no. I got a little comment here.
Yes.
Again, it's nitpicky, but that's my job. The fact that the lever starts moving because they're clacking at the system. Yeah. What's the point of a lever if you can get it to move from the system?
I think it's just all one kind of mechanized system. It's like, like if you open the bonnet of your car,
Yeah.
And you can pull the throttle cable, and you can make the throttle, like the accelerator pedal in the car, go down from under the bonnet. It's just one of those things. It's all linked together. Do you know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna justify it.
So
that's the manual way of doing it. The computer way is the digital way of doing it.
Why wouldn't they always?
It's the difference between turning your computer off by holding the power button and going like PC shutdown.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you always do it by computer?
I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
Well, that's my point. This is my point.
Ask Russell. Hey, Russell, you know this episode you wrote 20 years ago?
Yeah, Russell, give me an answer. Is this something I'm missing? Please tell me. Thank you.
So Yvonne orders the workers to stop, but they don't. They just carry on. The power keeps rising. And at this point, the void ship starts to activate, and it's like shaking the whole room. The Doctor recognizes the earpieces that the workers have on, and he apologizes, and he uses the sonic to kind of disrupt the signal, and they all just go, ah, and they just die. And Jackie's like, you killed them. He's like, no, they were dead long before I got here. She's like, but you killed them.
He's like, I haven't got time for this, Jackie.
yeah, literally does.
Yeah.
Yvonne goes to remove one of the earpieces, and I was like, no, don't, I'm warning you. And then she just pulls it out, and there's a long like string of nerve tissue like dangling off the end.
It's so nasty.
She goes, oh, it goes into their brain. And the ghost shift is now at 90%. And the Doctor's kind of like tracing the signal, and he traces it to the work area, and he goes there with Yvonne, but they don't notice that Singh is leaving them a message about the ship, saying it's alive, it's registering on our machines, it has mass, it exists, but he's like muted, so like no one hears him. The doors to the void ship kind of like open up. Sorry, the room. Jesus. The doors to the room with the void ship seal, and that kind of locks Rose, Mickey, and Dr. Singh inside. And Mickey kind of assures Rose, he says, hey, I've beaten them before, we'll beat them again. And Rose is like, what is it? And he's like, some kind of cyber king, cyber controller, cyber leader, something like that. And in the work area, the Doctor, Yvonne, and a couple of soldiers investigate the corridor where those people disappeared. I say disappeared, but converted.
Yeah. Oh.
And they get surrounded by Cybermen. She's like, what are they? The Doctor's like, Cybermen, and they're just surrounded. He's like, they came through the crack first, the advance guard. And Mickey tells Rose that the Cybermen were nearly beaten on the parallel Earth, but they managed to escape.
Yeah.
They found a way to this world, even though the Doctor said it was impossible.
He's like, not the first time the Doctor's been wrong.
Yeah. So the Cybermen lead the Doctor and Yvonne back to the breach, and they kill the technicians that are trying to like shut the program down. There's one Cyberman that's got like black handlebars in his helmet.
Yeah.
He's the designated cyber leader, and he orders the ghost shift to be increased to 100%. All around the world, the ghosts start coming into like full existence, revealing that all the ghosts this whole time, for months, have been Cybermen.
Yeah.
So there's now like worldwide panic because the Cybermen are like taking over the planet, and they're killing people and breaking into their homes and doing all that stuff. Yvonne says it's an invasion, but the Doctor says, no, it's too late for that.
It's a victory.
It's an immediate victory. In the void ship room, the sphere starts to open up, and Mickey like cocks his gun. He's like, we're waiting for some kind of like cyber leader or whatever.
Look, he goes into like, it's like a little hidden, I don't know.
It's like one of the workstations, and he goes under and he just grabs this massive sci-fi gun.
Jeff's just like, Samuel, what are you doing?
It's taking him a while to calm.
Yeah.
It's got psychic training, but no common sense.
He's been talking to Rose this whole time, and now he's just pulled out a big gun. And he's like, what's happening? Who are you?
Yeah. He's like, the name's Mickey, defending the Earth.
Rose loves this. She's eating it up. She's like, oh.
Yeah, the Doctor asks the cyber leader about the void ship, and he says, like, Cybermen don't have the technology to build one. And the cyber leader basically says, the sphere is not theirs. He says, it is not of Cybermen origin. it broke down the barrier between the worlds and they just followed.
Yeah.
So at this point, Sing, Rose, and Mickey watch as the sphere's opened, and what comes out? But 4 Daleks. 3 bronze, 1 black. And they fly out with another device. And the black Dalek approaches them, and it identifies the location as Earth, says life forms have been detected, and gives the order to exterminate. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of Army of Ghosts.
Yeah. A couple of questions I'll have for you before we jump into the next one.
Yeah.
Did you know that this might be a Dalek sphere?
Well, back when it came out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, my memory's probably a little fuzzy because that was 20 years ago. But I'm going to say I did not know.
Me neither, but then looking back at it, I'm like, it's literally...
It's bronze.
It's a big bronze bump. Like,
yeah, I think the episode does a good job of tricking you into thinking it's going to be something Cyberman related.
Yeah.
You never, because any episode you watch, you never contemplate the fact that there might be 2 monsters.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think, yeah, this whole time it's like, obviously not only do you I think maybe that's why, you know how we said earlier, like, is it meant to be a surprise that the Cybermen are there? Maybe it's not. Maybe they're intentionally leading you into thinking like it's the Cybermen. So you feel clever when you work it out.
Yeah.
And then you kind of put your guard down and don't expect anything else.
Yeah, I think the same thing because it's revealed really early on, isn't it? So
yeah, but yeah, good twist. Again, this is the first time you've seen the Daleks since the end of series 1. Mm-hmm. So again, as far as the Doctor was concerned, all the Daleks were wiped out.
Yeah.
From the Bad Wolf entity. Mm-hmm. So we have these 4 here. We kind of learn a bit more about them in the next episode, but they were hiding in that void ship. So, yeah. As far as we're aware, these are the last 4 Daleks in existence.
Yeah.
So, yeah. A little thing here, by the way. To keep the Dalek reveal secret, the final scene was removed from all preview tapes and was replaced with a title card reading "Final scene withheld until transmission," because they didn't want anyone to spoil it. So you think, that's good, isn't it? That's quite clever. Unfortunately, during the BAFTA ceremony, Russell T Davies, Julie Garner and Phil Collinson were collecting an award for Best Drama Series.
Yeah. And
when they did, someone appeared on stage in a black Dalek, kind of like prop.
What'd they do that for?
I don't know. But they had the prop and someone brought it out thinking like, hey, this is appropriate. But obviously the black Dalek, this is the first time you see it, so they kind of inadvertently spoiled
that there was going to be Daleks, yeah.
Yeah, and this specific black one during a BAFTA ceremony.
Did they spoil it? Or was that Russell being like, oh, if you were watching this, then you got a little peek?
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think about Army of Ghosts? Yeah. It does feel like a lot of setup.
Yeah,
I think. I think it's kind of easy to assume like not much happens in this because it's just setting up. I think we said about this off air, off recording, but like it does feel like a backloaded story.
It does, yeah.
Doomsday has all the action.
I feel like this episode goes really quickly.
I agree.
I feel it's quite fast paced.
It's kind of similar how I feel about with with last season with The Legend of Ruby Sunday and then Empire of Death. Not in terms of quality because Doomsday is a better episode than Empire of Death, but in terms of like
the first episode,
Legend of Ruby Sunday is just a lot of setup.
Yeah, and
then the episode ends with a big reveal of who the big bad is.
Yeah,
I feel like it's quite similar in that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I quite like Army of Ghosts for an episode where not much happens. I feel like a bit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then episode 2, Doomsday, starts. The Daleks come down. They're about to kill everyone. They're like, exterminate. And Rose just goes, Daleks! And they just stop. And she walks up to the black Dalek and she's like, I know your name. I know about you and the Time War. All I'm asking, if you want to know how, is you keep us alive. And Mickey's like, yeah, me too. Time War.
So Rajesh.
Yeah, Rajesh is like, yeah, and me. Yeah. And the Dalek's like, you will be necessary. And he turns around and he asks the status of the device that followed them out of the sphere. He calls it the Genesis Arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he orders the awakening to begin, and he says that the Ark must be protected above all else. I just thought I'd give you this as a bit of background information. Dalek Sec was played by the original casing from Dalek.
Oh.
Just painted black. But this is actually the same unit from that episode. Dalek Thay and Dalek Jast were additional Daleks built for Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways. So they were like some of the ones that just came into the room. And Dalek Khan was just a new build altogether.
The Ark.
The Ark.
It looks hella Dalek.
It does.
It looks like a Dalek.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like... I know. You know when you get...
It does kind of make sense based on...
It does, yeah. But I think... I don't know whether it's trying to get us to believe that we don't know what's in this.
No, I think it's trying to make you think it's something of their creation.
Because it kind of looks like a chocolate egg mould of a Dalek.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's trying to bait you into thinking like, oh, this is some kind of like big weapon they've got or something.
I mean, I don't think any of us, well, I don't know, maybe you did, but I didn't see what it was coming.
Again, it's hard for me to recall because I've seen this episode so many times, so trying to recall back to 2006, watching this as a 7-year-old for the first time, I struggle a little bit. But yeah, at this point, the Cybermen hold Jackie, Yvonne, and the Doctor hostage. The Cyber Leader demands to speak to the World Leader. Yvonne's like, oh, haven't you done any research? We don't have a World Leader. And he's like, you do now.
Just dresses him down. She's had enough.
Yeah, the Cyber Leader interrupts all TV and radio to make a message saying that they're going to convert all humans into Cybermen. And yeah, they're in every home and basically just patrolling across London. And yeah, there's kind of gunfire between like soldiers and Cybermen, and both sides are taking losses, and there's just war on the streets.
I've put again, this made me laugh so much. A man grenade launches a Cyberman. Just the way he blows up just makes me laugh so much.
Yeah. The Cyber Leaders, this is what makes me laugh. They're all watching from the window, and the Cyber Leader's like, we ordered surrender. So why didn't they surrender? He seems genuinely bamboozled. And the Doctor's like, you're on every street, you're in their homes, you've got their children, of course they're going to fight. Yeah, so the Black Dalek asks which of the three is least important. And Rose is like, no, we don't work like that. None of us. But Dr. Singh kind of volunteers, and he's like, I represent Torchwood, so if you want anything, you come through me. And the Dalek's like, Neil. He's like, what for? Neil. I love that the Daleks are just so used to people just doing as they say.
Yeah. It's like, do it all. Where's the Cybermen? Well, like, the Cybermen also, but...
That's it, the Cybermen were just bamboozled by the fact that they told people to do something and they didn't do it. The Cybermen were like, huh? Yeah, so the Daleks say they need to know everything about current Earth history. And Singh, like, tries to talk, and the Dalek says, like, speech is not required.
Oh, and it's just...
And, yeah, 3 of the Daleks go in with their little plungers.
Yeah, extract the brain waves.
Yes.
Oh, I hate how they kind of... the plungers kind of, like, form around his face. The 3 of them,
you could
like...
just envelop his head altogether, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they plunge him to death, drain his brain.
And he becomes like a grey old skeleton.
He's like a little mummified boy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. He drops all dusty to the floor. And Rose is like, you didn't need to kill him. And Dalek Sec's like, we also didn't need him alive.
Fair.
Damn, boys. Come on.
One thing I'd like to bring up that we've passed is... Jackie was asking what's happened to Rose.
Yes.
Because they know that the room's been sealed off and whatever's in the sphere's opened up. And the Doctor here says, I promise that I'll get you out of here. I give you my word.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a doom, isn't it?
That's like an omen.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, dead.
It's so sad though, isn't it? Because she's obviously she knows something good isn't going to happen, and he's trying to what's the word?
He's trying
soothe
to
her.
Yeah, he's trying to soothe her.
Soothe her.
He's trying to calm the situation down. At this point, I think the Cybermen noticed that there are other life forms in the building.
Yeah.
So they send cyber units to the Void Room to investigate. At the same time, the Daleks notice life form readings, and the Black One orders one of the others, he calls him Dalek Thay, to investigate.
Yeah. And the best 15 minutes of TV show is about
10-15 minutes, doesn't go on that long.
Okay, 5 minutes then.
Yeah, so the Cybermen and the Dalek meet in the corridor outside the Void Room, and the Doctor, Jackie, and Rose, and Mickey are watching through, like... Sorry, a little bit. They're watching through video transmissions so they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
The Doctor's obviously horrified to see a Dalek.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah, they just have a slagging match, don't they? The Cybermen ask the Daleks to identify themselves.
He's like, no,
the
you
Daleks
first.
are like, you first.
He's like, no, you first. Yeah, I love how the Cybermen say identify, and then the Dalek says, Daleks don't
take orders.
And he's like, you have
identified as Dalek.
Yeah,
Mickey describes this whole thing as Stephen Hawking meets the speaking clock. Yeah. And they're just trading insults. He's like, Dalek's like, you identify as the inferior species known as Cybermen.
So, Cybermen are like, it's like, oh, you have no elegance. And Dalek's like, we have no concept of elegance. And goes, this is obvious.
Yeah, Daleks have no concept of beauty. It's like, this is obvious.
I love this so much. They're just this so spicy.
Yeah. Is this better than that bit in Power of the Doctor when they just look at each other during the Rasputin dance?
Oh. I hate that. This is brilliant, though. I love just two species who think they're superior to everybody.
Yeah. Is it at this point when he's like, Cybermen are superior in only one way. You are better at dying.
Yeah, he says that later on.
Yeah. So yeah, they're like exchanging these insults until the Cybermen offer to form an alliance. The Dalek's like, you propose an alliance, and the Cybermen's like, yeah, and the Dalek basically refuses.
He's like, no.
And just the Cybermen like respond with laser fire, and the Dalek just kind of shrugs off the shots and just exterminates them both. And just kills them on the spot.
The Doctor, he's listening with his 3D glasses on again.
Yep.
Just a little note.
Yeah, the cyber leader contacts the Daleks and warns them that they've declared war on the Cybermen. And the Black Dalek goes, this is not war, this is pest control.
I love this so much.
And the Cybermen are like, there are however many billion Cybermen. How many Daleks are there? He's like, 4. He's like, you would destroy the Cybermen with 4 Daleks. We would destroy the Cybermen with 1 Dalek. Yeah, this is when he says, you are superior in one respect, you are better at dying.
I know that.
You love sassy Daleks,
I love
you?
this. So the two of them.
They're so petty.
It's so petty.
Big sibling energy.
This just. I love this. This is great.
One of the other Daleks spots the Doctor on the screen and registers him as an enemy, but doesn't exactly recognize him. And the Black Dalek says, the female's heartbeat has increased. And Mickey goes, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. The Daleks demand to know who the man on the screen is. So Rose says, all right, yeah, I'll tell you. That's the Doctor. And then the Daleks kind of like scoot back like a foot. And she's like, 5 million Cybermen, easy. 1 Doctor. Now you're scared.
Yeah.
This is when the Doctor's when the Doctor promises to keep Rose safe. As Jackie and Yvonne are getting dragged away to be upgraded. She's like, help me, you said you were going to save me. And he's like, I'll save you, I promise.
Well, he said it earlier on. But
Yeah, but this is when she's literally getting dragged away. She's like, you said you were going to take care of us.
And he's like, oh. You gave me your word.
Yeah, he promises he'll save Jackie and get her out alive. And the cyber leader basically says, you are proof. And the Doctor's like, of what? He's like, how emotions destroy you. And he's like, yep, I am. Tell you what, though, I quite like hope. And then at this point, a team of people with guns just appear in the room and destroy the Cybermen in the breach room. And the leader of the team pulls off like a mask and reveals himself to be Jake.
Yeah.
Jake boy from Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel.
Yay.
I like this team.
I like this team too.
Yeah. There are like sparks and screams coming from the Torchwood personnel as they're being converted into Cybermen.
Yeah. I quite like Yvonne's little thing here.
Well, she explains the process to Jackie.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes.
So organised.
Look, I'm organised in the length of the episode. If you're jumping around, I'm going to have to find my notes. I'll just go off with that. Yeah, I quite like the fact that that Yvonne, she takes it quite well. You could tell she's completely shaken up, but she's like, I just tried to do my job and this is going to happen. She's like, I can't fight the inevitable, really.
Yeah, because Jackie's like, what are these things? And Yvonne basically explains that I think they're us. I think you go in there, they remove the brain and they put it into one of those metal shells. And she's like explaining, but she's like, she kind of stops for a minute and she's like, oh, sorry. And then she has to like compose herself.
Yeah.
And kind of like finish the sentence. But yeah, I know what you mean. She's like, she is shaken, but she seemingly has accepted that, oh yeah, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And she just voluntarily walks into the conversion chamber. He's like, I did my duty for Queen and Country.
Oh.
And Jackie starts screaming. She's like, you did this, you and your bloody Torchwood.
Oh, I know. Actually, I have put that in my notes somewhere. I've said, like, she's literally going to her death. And Jackie's like, this is your fault.
Jackie's ruthless this
They're
episode.
ruthless.
Yeah. So yeah, the Cybermen receive an update that the original Cyber leader's been killed. So what they do in the event that this happens is they download its files into a different Cyberman unit.
Yeah.
So the Cyber leader essentially always just gets transferred when one is killed.
This is when Jackie escapes because they're no longer paying attention to her.
Yes, and she kind of slips away and escapes into like a stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so meanwhile, the Doctor tells Jake, he's like, well, how did you get here? You can't just hop from one universe to another. And Jake's like, yeah, you can. And he shows him they've got these like disc-shaped devices that they've kind of got around their neck as like a necklace. And it's basically got a big button on it. He says they developed them, I think it's their version of Torchwood or something developed them.
Yeah,
and they use it to...
parallel Earth and there's a parallel Torchwood.
Yeah. He says Torchwood developed the discs, but they found out in their universe what Torchwood was doing, and the People's Republic took control.
Yeah.
Because at this point he's like, I can show you, and he like presses the button, and the Doctor's like, no, wait, and then they get teleported to Pete's world, and they're in their version of Torchwood, where it looks the same, but it's dark.
Yeah, it looks like it nobody's working there. It's been abandoned kind of thing. The Doctor puts on his 3D glasses again to look at Jake when he comes through. Before he says anything to him, he's like, trying to check if it's him kind of thing.
Yeah. And he asks him to take him back. And this is when Pete Tyler steps out of the shadows.
Yeah.
And he tells the Doctor that this is their world, and for once he's going to listen. The Doctor, he looks taken aback. He's like, oh.
Pete?
So Dalek Thay returns to the Sphere Room, and he suggests that they should concentrate on the Genesis arc before battling the Cybermen. Priority, isn't it?
I hate how the Dalek plungers fit onto the little bumps of the I hate that.
Yeah, you don't like that?
I mean, they fit perfectly, but there's something about it that I don't quite like. Like usually, when you have two cups that stack nicely, it's like, ooh. Yeah. But I don't know whether it's just the plunger and this bump. No.
Does a Dalek plunger fit perfectly around a Dalek bump, like on the casing?
No, I think they're smaller, aren't they? The Dalek, like the little, I don't know what they are, grenades? Like
grenades?
Well, like there's some sort of
thoracic beam in the cases.
What?
Someone will get that. Yeah. So, the Black Dalek orders the others to begin the awakening. And all four, they attach their, I think they're called manipulator arms. I think that's what the plungers are called. So they attach their manipulator arms to the spheres on the Genesis arc. At this point, Pete and Jake explain that they tried sealing up the Cybermen in their factories, but then a lot of debate kind of surrounded this because there were people arguing that they were still people and they needed help.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Cybermen infiltrated parallel Torchwood, and they found the Doctor's universe and vanished. They basically realized that their homeworld was too prepared to fight them off, so they wanted to hop to another universe that had less weapons, or less advanced weapons, we'll say. So yeah, they're essentially sending their 5 million strong army all over at once, which is why it took them like 3 years to cross.
Yeah.
Where like individuals like Jake can just pop across in like a second.
Well, that's what the Doctor says. They say, oh yeah, Mickey said the Doctor would
Rattle off techno babble.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So back in the sphere room, Mickey shows Rose that he's got one of those like dimension jumping devices, but he says it can only transport him. Rose wonders why the Daleks would build something they couldn't open. She kind of realizes that the Daleks need the touch of a time traveler to open the Genesis Arc. She has that kind of flashback to Dalek when the Dalek was broken, but as soon as she touched it, it kind of extrapolated her bio data or whatever it was explained as and repaired it. So at this point, the Black Dalek kind of overhears the conversation and says that the Daleks did not build the Ark. It is of Time Lord design. It's the last remnant of their society. And Rose goes, "What's inside?" And he goes, "The future." Why is he so vague?
Well, I guess he's being smart, isn't he? He's like, I'm not going to tell you what's actually in there. Like that would ruin our plan. Like,
would it though?
We want you to be surprised.
We want you to look and go, "Oh bloody hell!"
I quite like here as Rose says that Mickey is the bravest man she's ever met.
He's like, "What about the Doctor?" Bravest human. Yeah,
there's something in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so back on Parallel Earth, Peter's kind of like showing off his world.
Yeah.
He says Britain's enjoying a golden age. The Doctor says, "Who's the Prime Minister?" And he's like, "A woman called Harriet Jones." And he's like, "Keep an eye on her." I love Harriet Jones. I wish he was in this.
Oh.
But yeah, he says temperatures are rising and the ice caps are melting. Pete guesses it has something to do with the breach. And the Doctor says every time someone crosses over, damage is done, and if it keeps up, both worlds will just fall into the void.
Yeah.
So Pete thinks the Doctor can close the breach, and the Doctor basically says that will leave the Cybermen and the Daleks on his world. And Pete's like, "Yeah, that's your problem, mate. I'm only interested in protecting mine." Which
is terrible, but also, I guess, a fair enough thing to say.
I guess, yeah.
They've had...
He's already taken on the role of protector of the world.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they've had many years of Cybermen.
Yeah, that's fair. This is when the Doctor says that Jackie on his world could still be alive.
Yeah. He says about your daughter, and he's like, "Rose isn't my daughter."
Yeah. Pete says there are more important things at stake, and he asks the Doctor to help them. He's like, "Do you think I can do that?" He's like, "Yes, I can." He's like, "Well, let's get started then."
Yes. I like the fact that all the Doctor needs is for them to believe in him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay."
So they cross back over to N space.
Yeah.
The Doctor's universe, whatever you want to call it. The Doctor calls Jackie on her phone. And he tells her to kind of like keep a low profile. She's on the stairwell. I love this bit where he's like, "Where are you? Is there?" She's like, "Staircase." And he's like, "Well, which one? Is there some kind of like signifier?" She's like, "Yeah, a fire extinguisher." He's like, "Oh yeah, that helps." And then she says, "Oh, there's a sign that says N3, I think." He's like, is it like North Staircase Corridor 3 or something like that?
Yeah.
So he's like, "Right, stay there, keep a low profile, I'm coming to get you." So he takes Jake's rifle and kind of like modifies it so it can affect polycarbide. Jake's like, "What's polycarbide?" He's like, "Skin of a Dalek." And they crack on. This is when
I love
this is when we cut to the Cybermen in the corridor, and you see the Doctor waves like a flag, and by a flag I mean a little stick with a sheet of A4 paper on the end.
He's like, "Surrender." He's like, "I didn't have a flag, I had a fashion one." Yeah.
And he says, basically, he agrees to, or he proposes a plan, because the Daleks wouldn't form an alliance with the Cybermen. He says, "Why don't we do that? I'll form an alliance with you, and we'll take the Daleks out together." So at this point, the Black Dalek tells Rose to activate the Ark. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And he's like, well, we'll kill Mickey. And she's like, all right.
Yeah.
She's like, she seems so like set in her way. And soon as he's like, we'll kill Mickey, she's like, all right. She doesn't even seem like resistant to it. She's like, all right, fine. Rose steps forward. But this is the moment she decides to bring up how she met the Dalek Emperor. And the Dalek seems surprised that the Emperor survived.
Yeah.
So, the Emperor survived. And Rose is like, yeah, till he met me. And I poured the time vortex into his head and turned him to dust.
Yeah.
She says, the god of all Daleks. And I killed him. Ha! Just laughs in his face. And the Dalek goes like, exterminate, and is about to like kill it, and then the Doctor goes, whoa, wait a minute, and then he's just standing in the doorway
with his glasses on again.
Yeah, his little 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And the Black Dalek asks how the Doctor survived the Time War. And the Doctor says he fought on the front lines where the Daleks fled. He's like, you lot, you run away. And they were like, we had to survive. And Rose is like, Doctor, these Daleks have names. And this is when they identify themselves. So the black one is Dalek Sec, and then the other three identify as Dalek Thay, Dalek Jast, and Dalek Khan. The Doctor now realizes that these 4 Daleks are members of the cult of Skaro, a secret order above even the Emperor himself.
I love it when he says that. He's like, the cult of Skaro.
I thought you were just a legend. But the cult's purpose was to think of new ways of killing, to think as the enemy thinks. And Mickey asks the Doctor about the Genesis Arc, and the Doctor doesn't really know what it is.
Yeah.
He says the Dalek said it's Time Lord design, and the Doctor's like, well, both sides had secrets. Dalek Sec kind of gloats that Time Lord science will ensure supremacy of the Daleks, and he orders the Doctor to open the Ark. He says, touch of a time traveller. And this is when I actually wrote down what the Doctor says here, because I love this bit of dialogue, where he says, technology using the one thing a Dalek can't do, touch, sealed inside your casing, not feeling anything, ever, from birth to death, locked inside a cold metal cage, completely alone. That explains your voice. No wonder you scream. Damn.
And then you're like,
Again, this is that moment where I'm like, yeah, this is the Doctor. This is the 10th Doctor that I know. But the Doctor laughs and he like pulls out his sonic, and the Daleks are like, a sonic probe. He's like, that's a screwdriver. It is harmless. And he goes, oh yeah, harmless is just a word. It cannot kill, cannot wound, cannot maim. But I tell you what it is very good at. It's very good at opening doors. And then he kind of blows open the doors into the sphere chamber, just blows them apart, and then a bunch of Cybermen enter and open fire on the Daleks using like the modified rifles.
Yeah. I love just get a load of delete and exterminate shouting.
Yeah, just back and forth at each other.
Delete, exterminate.
Yeah. And this gives the Doctor and the others a little bit of leeway, a little time to escape. So the Daleks kind of quickly adapt and return fire, concentrating their attacks on the Cybermen. And as the Doctor and the humans kind of rush out the chamber, Mickey's kind of knocked over. I think it's like a Cyberman like bumps into him or something. And Mickey kind of falls over and his hand presses on the Genesis Arc and activates it.
Silly Mickey.
Yeah. Well, after the Daleks like exterminate all the Cybermen, the Ark is obviously now primed. The Daleks sec that it needs a space of 30 square miles to activate. That's pretty big.
That is pretty big.
We see why later.
Yeah.
But the Daleks take it out of the chamber. There's this funny shot where the Daleks are like just obviously scooting out, and then it's just this thing just gliding along the floor behind it. It's like leading a toddler. The Doctor and everyone else are running down the stairwell. Mickey's like apologizes for his slip up, and the Doctor says, Mickey, you did us a favor because if you hadn't opened it, the Daleks would have tried to open it by force and the energy would have blown up the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Do we actually believe this? Maybe the Doctor's just trying to be like, no, you did fuck up, but I'll tell everybody that...
Yeah. I got you back, Mickey, don't worry.
I'll tell everybody that it would have been worse if you hadn't touched it.
Yeah. At this point, Jackie is found by 2 Cybermen who go to capture her for upgrading.
I love this so much. They're like, you will be upgraded. And she's like, no, but please, you can't. She's not... The fact that she's trying to plead with them.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, no, but please, you can't. And she kind of like cowers down until the Cybermen get blown to pieces. And who was it?
It's Pete.
It's Pete. Aww. And now they're in this corridor, and Pete and Jackie see each other.
This is
obviously parallel counterparts.
Yeah.
But it's his first time seeing her in maybe 2-3 years.
Yeah, and
because obviously she died during the events of Rise of Cybermen, and it's her first time seeing him in at least 20.
Yeah.
Because he died
on Father's... Well, not on Father's Day, but
I know what you mean.
In Father's Day.
Yeah.
This is such a heartwarming scene. Like,
I like the scene a lot.
With Jackie saying, she's like, that's not fair, why him?
Yeah, you said there were ghosts, but why him?
It's like... Oh.
Yeah, so Pete spends this whole time trying to rationalize that she isn't his wife, and he's like, you see, I'm from a parallel universe, I have my own Jackie, you had your own Pete, we're not together. And he's trying to justify it, and then in the end he just goes, oh, come here, and then they just kind of run towards each other.
I love the fact that she looks, because he's saying I'm not a ghost, I'm real, and she looks at him, she's like, oh, you look old.
Yeah.
And he's like,
you don't.
Oh, my heart when he says that. And even her face, she's like, oh.
Yeah. There's also that bit, isn't there, where he's like, in my universe, all those plans, those silly little schemes I had worked. He's like, I'm rich. And she's like, I don't care about that. How rich? He's like, very. I don't care about that. How very? And the doctor's laughing. It's funny though, because when they just run towards each other and hug at the end, and the camera cuts over to Rose, and Rose is she's got her hands cupped together, and she's like, oh.
Yeah, I like the fact that I just love this. I want to talk about it more because Jackie says in the 20 years, she never left her flat.
Yeah, she said, I never did anything with my life, and Pete says well, you brought up Rose Tyler. That's something.
Yeah, it's just so nice. I just love this.
It's funny because this is, like you said, this is a very action heavy episode because Army of Ghosts does all the setting up. Doomsday is very much non-stop and you don't get much time to kind of chill out.
Yeah.
But this, I feel is a big moment that was needed here.
Yeah.
And
I don't know whether it's mentioned here or much later on, but I know they also speak about he's saying oh, did you find anyone else? I think it's here. I think it's here,
yeah. And he says, did you remarry? And she says there was never anyone else.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Just so sweet. I love this.
No, it's funny because they try to justify, and it's hey, we may look like each other's partners, but we're not actually.
Yeah, we're very
I
different.
am not the Jackie you married. You are not the Pete I married.
Yeah.
But in the end, they're just oh, screw it. And they just run towards each other, and she kind of jumps and
at him, yeah.
she Scooby-Doo's onto him.
Yeah. Just wraps her legs around him a little, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, yeah. Mickey and the Doctor are just smiling ear to ear, and then Rose is just there. Rose is not smiling. Rose is I don't know. It's almost.
She does look a little bit awkward. I'm not going to lie.
It's as if she's waiting for something to ruin it.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to say that, but
this is clearly what she wants.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. She's not smiling in the same way the Doctor is. She looks I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, I don't know. I just get the impression that she's oh, please let this work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, the Daleks and the Ark move into the Torchwood storage area, and they're battling more Cybermen. Some human soldiers break in now and add to the chaos. There's now a 3-army battle going on. The Doctor stumbles in and he grabs 2 Magna clamps before leaving. As the Daleks kind of blast their way through everybody, the new cyber leader calls for reinforcements. And Dalek Sec overrides the roof mechanism, so the whole roof kind of opens up, and he elevates up into the sky with the Genesis Ark.
Yeah.
The Ark opens up above London, and it starts spinning, and we see why it needed that 30-mile radius, because it starts just going and just starts like ejecting Daleks out, just flinging them across the world. So the Doctor realizes that the Time Lord science they were talking about is the fact that it's bigger on the inside. He says it's a prison ship. And I can't remember if it's Rose or Mickey, but one of them says like how many Daleks are in there, and he says millions.
Oh God!
And you just see it just flinging around, just rotating like 360 degrees, just spitting Daleks everywhere. And as hundreds of Daleks line up, an army of Cybermen are like marching through the streets. It's chaos.
It is.
Pete at this point just thinks the situation's hopeless. So he prepares to jump back to his world, and he offers to take Jackie along.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, you're coming with me, Jax. The Doctor's more optimistic, though, because the Doctor turns around and he's got his glasses on again.
Yeah.
And he's smiling ear to ear. And he says, isn't anyone going to ask?
And Rose is like, what's with the glasses?
What's with the glasses? And he's like, I can see! He says, it lets me see everything that's crossed through the void. He's like, look, and he puts the glasses on her. And when she looks at him, he's kind of moving side to side, and he's got these like particles floating around. He calls it void stuff.
Yeah.
He says everything that's been in the void or been through the void to travel across parallel worlds will be covered in this void stuff. So she looks at everyone. He's like, everyone's got it except your mother.
First time she's looked normal in her life.
She goes, oi. But since the Daleks and the Cybermen have been hiding in the void, they'll be like saturated in the stuff as well. He says if he can reopen the rift, they should all get sucked in, and then it'll collapse in on itself and seal the breach between the worlds. But Rose, Roy Tyler. Rose Tyler points out that. Why did I just say his surname? Rose points out that they're covered in void stuff too. So they're going to get sucked in. And the Doctor explains that he will open the breach here, but if Rose and the others go back to Pete's world, they'll be safe, because the breach is only on this side. She says, what about you? And he says, I'll hang on to these. And he shows like those magna clamps he's got. He's like, I'll just pop them on the wall and I'll just have to hang on real tight. But Rose says, well, if the breach is closed, how am I going to get back? And he basically says, you don't. You're going to have to stay there. And she refuses. She refuses to leave the Doctor. He's like, he says to her, like, Rose, think about it. You'll never see your mother again.
Yeah.
And her response is, I made my decision a long time ago, and I'm never going to leave you. Damn, Rose.
Yeah.
Rose basically said, I'll happily never see my mother again.
Yeah.
And she's standing right there. God damn. It's awful. Jackie's like, well, if Rose isn't going, then I'm not going. And Pete's like, come on, we're going. And there's just this whole argument breaking out. Rose and Jackie are like arguing with each other. And at this point, the Doctor and Pete kind of walk up behind both of them and slip the devices over, like the teleporters over their heads.
Yeah.
And Pete transports them all across. So they all hop over to Pete's world. Rose says like, oh no, you're not doing this to me again. And
she goes back.
Yeah, she goes back to the Doctor's universe. And he has a go at her. He's like, Rose, every time you use that thing, you create a crack in the universe. And she's like, I told you I'm never going to leave you. Now tell me what to do. Jackie goes to do the same thing, but Pete basically pulls the thing off her and stops her. And she's like crying and she's like, tell him, Mickey. And then Mickey looks really sad as well. Mickey looks like he doesn't know what to do. He's torn between, he's caught between a rock and a hard place, really. This is when Pete says, like, the Doctor said it damages both worlds every time we use one of these. Following the Doctor's instructions, Rose is setting all the coordinates on the void controls to 6. Cybermen are climbing the stairs. They plan on using the breach to kind of retreat back to Pete's world. On the way, though, those Cybermen are met by another Cyberman at the top of the stairs.
Yvonne.
It's Yvonne. And I don't know why she's different, but she is.
Well, she says that she's doing her duty, isn't she?
I know, but I don't know why like the emotional inhibitor and everything didn't work on her. But I don't know.
Maybe they got distracted during the process.
Because also she's the only one that like it's still clearly like her voice as well. So yeah, she's slightly different from the others, but yeah, she kills the Cybermen. She's like, I did my duty for Queen and country, and then you get this little like oil leak like come out of her eye.
Yeah, I have a question, but carry on.
You have a question, but carry on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will come up later.
Okay. Yeah. So the Doctor and Rose fix the magna clamps on the walls. And, they open up the breach. And at this point, Dalek Sec senses that the breach is active, assumes it's the Doctor, and sends a squad of Daleks to go and exterminate him. Rose and the Doctor pull the levers, and once the breach activates, they hold onto the clamps, and now it kind of just starts this big... I was going to say succession.
Please never, ever refer to it as that again.
You've heard of Succession. This is a suck session.
I put a note about this. So they're all pulled into the void.
Yes.
The way they're pulled in is so goofy.
Because they're like spinning, aren't they?
No, not just the Daleks is a bit goofy, but it's not so bad. The Cybermen, they're just kind of like plucked up for the air. They dangle their legs for like a couple of seconds, and then they're like, phew.
Is it because they're humanoid, you reckon?
Maybe.
Or is it because they're meant to be really stiff?
It's because they're not just taken straight away. They kind of hover.
They have a Wile E. Coyote moment.
Yeah, they kind of hover in the air a little bit. Their legs just dangle a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I do have a little question about this.
Yeah, go on.
So, we know that the reason that things are being pulled into the void is because they have these void particles.
The void stuff, yeah.
How come all the Cybermen are being pulled into the void then?
Because they had to cross over.
Not all of them.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. Because loads of them have been upgraded, like Yvonne.
Ooh.
So could you argue that the materials that they're made of possibly are the reason why?
Let's go with that. I never thought about that. That's a good point.
I know.
Saying that, I guess not many of them.
I mean, a couple were.
Not really, because, like, again, you think about it, there was, what was it, like 2 million or 3 million or 5 million, however many million Cybermen there were, but they came across as ghosts. There's only one cyber factory, and that's in Torchwood Tower. So at most, it's going to be, what, a couple hundred people? At most.
So, yeah, but that's still...
And a lot of those probably got destroyed during the battle with the Daleks and the humans.
Maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Basically, does Yvonne survive this? Does Cyber Yvonne live on?
If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say no. But if you like Yvonne, you get to listen to the Torchwood audio dramas.
She could. Technically, she could have.
It's possible. Daleks come back every 5 minutes, so Cyber Yvonne could. Go on, Russell, do it.
Yeah. Do it. Say she stayed in Torchwood and she's looked after everybody as a Cyberman.
You know the Vlinks in Unit HQ? That's Cyber Yvonne.
Yeah, except she's looking after like what's it called, like the munitions section.
So as everything's getting sucked into the breach, the Doctor and Rose are like holding on to the clamps. Outside, the Daleks are drawn towards Torchwood Tower, and they're all like getting sucked in. Yeah, they're going. The Cybermen are still kind of firing at the Daleks, but they're getting pulled into the sky, like you said.
Yeah.
Dalek Sec, though, and presumably the rest of the Cultiscaro realise, crap. So they initiate an emergency temporal shift, and they teleport away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the power lever on Rose's side starts to shift to the offline position, doesn't it?
See, again, it'd be handy if it was just... They didn't have to pull it and they could just use the systems.
They could, but the computers are in a different room.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, even then. Again. The computers are in a different room. Why didn't they log in and put the lever on and not have to be in that room?
Yeah. Rose lets go of her clamp to try and like secure the lever, and she pushes it back up. But then is left. But as she like pushes it on, obviously the void or the suction into the void gets stronger. So then she is still hanging on, but she's dangling from the lever now, which I'm surprised that doesn't pull the lever down.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But yeah, there was another part of me that thought, maybe just let the lever go down and then it'll stop sucking them in, and then that'll give you time to quickly run up, pull it up, and then grab onto the clamp again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Do both levers need to be down for it to be off?
Did the doctor have to put the clamps in the same room as the breech?
Again, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, she pushes it back up, and then she's hanging onto the lever now. The doctor's like yelling for her to hold on. And as the last of the Daleks fall into the breach, Rose finally loses her grip and she falls. And this is so good though, because the moment she's like falling, she's going, ah, and then the camera like cuts over to the doctor and he's like screaming. He's going, Rose! And then, yeah, you think she's going to fall into the void until at the last moment, Pete appears.
Oh.
Appears, catches her. She looks at the doctor for like one last time and then
zoop.
And then, yeah, just disappears again. And, yeah, so the breach seals itself closed. And Rose is trapped now on Pete's world.
This bit is so good.
Cue Doomsday. Dum 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 dum. Ooh.
Billie Piper's acting is so brilliant here.
She's thumping the wall like sobbing.
Yeah, and she's like, take me back, take me back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like thumping the wall, and the camera cuts back to like Pete, Jackie, and Mickey, and they're just kind of looking sadly on as she's just thumping the wall. Yeah, just sobbing, saying, take me back. And she knows she can't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, takes that moment. Pete notices that his like disc has stopped working, and he says he did it. He sealed the breach. And then we get that iconic shot where on both sides, Rose is like pressing her face and her hand against the wall, and on the other side, the doctor's doing the same thing. And there's that moment, isn't there, where you think like she might hear him, but then doesn't. And they're kind of resting their cheeks against it, and then the doctor turns around and he walks away alone. For the first time in the revival, the doctor is alone. Sad.
Well, that's what I like earlier on, when I'm not sure whether it's when Rose is pulled into the Pete's world for the first time, or whether they're just about to go. Rose says to Jackie that he does it all alone. He saves the world all alone.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to do it anymore because he's got me.
Yeah.
And I think it's so sad because, you know, it kind of reiterates that, he is doing it all alone and he doesn't have her anymore.
We return to the status quo. That's the thing. In all of Doctor Who, that's the status quo. The Doctor being on his own. He finds a companion and they become his best friend. And then eventually they have to part ways and then he's alone again. Until the cycle just restarts. Obviously, Doomsday playing here. Great bit of music. It's funny because most of the Doctor Who score is quite orchestral or sometimes choir-based, but it sounds like rock. Yeah. You got an acoustic drum kit, you got an electric guitar, and a piano. That's most of it. There are some like cellos that come later. They do the you get that bit, but yeah, it's very different. What I'll say, the actual like main vocal melody, the that's that vocal melody is the same melody that plays back in Rose, the very first time Rose enters the TARDIS.
Oh.
So if you watch that clip back when she runs in for the first time and you get that shot where the camera pulls back and you see the TARDIS set for the first time, this melody of the vocals from Doomsday is there. Yeah. So it kind of like bookends Rose's time in the TARDIS, kind of. So that's fun. But yeah, the Doctor walks away alone. Rose eventually turns around and does the same thing. And then we kind of cut to black and then we hear Rose. And this is when Rose basically says she had a dream where she could hear the Doctor's voice calling her. And she tells Jackie, Pete and Mickey about the voice. She says anyone else would think I'm crazy, but not those three. Those three knew. They knew about the Doctor and they knew what he was capable of and all that stuff. So they're following the voice to a beach 50 miles outside of Bergen, Norway. And when they get to the beach, an image of the Doctor appears. Yeah. And he's standing there in his Converse and his brown suit. He tells Rose that he found the last of the breaches and he's transmitting the signal by using the TARDIS to harness the power of a supernova. He says he's burning up a sun to say goodbye.
Aww.
And Rose says he looks like a ghost. And he goes, oh, hold on. And he kind of like tweaks the projection and it kind of now looks like he's actually standing there. He says, though, he's still just an image. There's no touch.
Yeah.
He asks where the breach came through, and she says a beach called Darlig Ulfstranden, which roughly translates as Bad Wolf Bay.
It's in Norway.
I said that,
Yeah.
I think. Did I say that? Yeah, Bergen, Norway. I said that.
I like the fact that she said, oh, can't you come through the breach? And he's like, it could collapse 2 universes. And she's like, so?
Yeah, and he just laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, how long have we got? And he says, about 2 minutes. And she goes, I can't think of what to say. Which is so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctor points out that, oh, you still got Mr. Mickey over there. And
yeah. She says, and there's a baby on the way. And he's like, you're not. And she's like, no, Mum. She's 3 weeks pregnant. She says she's working back in the shop. And the doctor's like, good for you. She's like, no, I'm joking. She says, but they've probably got jobs going on over at Parallel Torchwood. I think I know a thing or two about aliens. And yeah, he smiles and says, Rose Tyler, defender of the Earth. And he says, you're dead, officially, back home. The battle lasted less than a day, but so many people died that anyone missing is assumed dead. And Rose asks the doctor if she'll ever see him again. And he says, you can't. And Rose says, what are you going to do? And he says, I'll go on alone. And she says, she tries to say it, and then she kind of like chokes on words and stops, and then she eventually says, I love you. And he says, quite right to. And I suppose if it's one last chance to say it, Rose Tyler, and then he fades away.
Aww.
And Rose is just there in tears, and she's just gutted.
Yeah.
And then she turns and just runs back.
And then Jackie sees her and then runs
to her and Jackie run into each other's arms. And they embrace. And then we cut to inside the TARDIS.
And he's crying.
The doctor's standing there and he's got like a tear rolling down his cheek.
I quite like how this is handled because it looks like he's about to say I love you, but he doesn't say it.
Well, I think because if he said, there were a lot of people that were quite dubious about this whole thing about the doctor being in a romantic kind of relationship because he was always portrayed as not having those kind of feelings. So I feel like this is a way of kind of appeasing to both things, because the people who were shipping that romance kind of go like, oh, it's such a tragic moment, but then people that didn't want the doctor to outright say, yes, I love you, Rose Tyler, also kind of got their way. So it was kind of having your cake and eating it, but I think it's done quite well.
I agree.
But he's standing there, he's got that tear rolling down his cheek, and he just resumes back to normality. He starts walking around the console, and he's like firing up the buttons and everything. And then he looks up and he sees a woman in a wedding dress standing in the console room. And he goes, what? And she turns around. It's Catherine Tate. It's Donna Noble. And she goes, what? Where am I? And he's like, what? She goes, what the hell is this place? He's like,
what?
What? And then we cut to our credits, and that's Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Thoughts?
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Held up. I'm glad, because I remember you were looking forward to the Cybermen 2-parter, and then you said on reflection, watching it back, it wasn't as strong as you remembered it being.
Yeah.
So I wondered whether you'd have a similar thing with this one.
I think this is still strong. I like the fact that it's really varied.
Yeah.
You have a lot of humour. You have a lot of like genuine, heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
You have a lot of serious moments. So I really like that.
Yeah.
I think it's paced quite well, even though
the
second episode is heavily loaded with what happens.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel like...
It doesn't feel that way.
It's not done in a way where the first part feels boring and the second part feels like there's no room to breathe.
Yeah, I agree.
It's done quite well. And I think that obviously it's kind of become iconic now, but the way that the two get separated is so tragic
I like the fact that when Rose is being pulled into the void, she's being pulled in just enough time for you to actually believe she's going to go in.
Yes.
And then it's just a last second Pete saves her. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because like the whole thing of like, this is the story of how I died, which we know kind of bullshit.
It is,
it's the doctor being like, you're dead officially back home.
Yeah.
Because you went missing.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, okay. But like,
yeah,
I think
so
because
Jackie, by that logic.
yeah. But because of the whole framing of like, this is the story of how I died, you go into that assuming, oh, she's going to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's handled quite well. To be honest, my only gripe with this is this whole finality of it, of this is the story of how I died, this is the last story I'll ever tell, and all that stuff. It's kind of undermined by the fact that she comes back like 2 seasons later.
Yeah.
Which isn't a fault of this story.
No.
But yeah, I guess we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I like this 2-parter a lot. I think it's done really well. Do you have anything?
Not that I can think of. Have you got some trivia?
Oh, I got some trivia, baby.
Yeah.
Working title, Torchwood Rises.
No.
No?
No.
You never like the working titles, do you? And they are working titles, though.
Yeah. I mean, some aren't too bad, but I think generally they make the best decision when they pick the titles.
I assume Torchwood Rises would have been for Army of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we mentioned this earlier, but I got the Doctor says Al on Z for the first time.
He does.
This episode marks the first on-screen meeting between the Daleks and the Cybermen.
Well, they never... Well, yeah, no, they wouldn't have, would they?
Yeah. This is pest control. This is the final episode where the TARDIS console is dimly lit.
That's so random.
As of The Runaway Bride, the room will be a lot brighter. Because in Series 1 and 2, that kind of like bluey-green colour coming from the console unit is what lights the ship.
Yeah.
Where later on, the roundels seem to have more lights on them, and it's just quite a bit brighter.
Oh, do you think that's the TARDIS being like, I know you're sad.
Stop sulking, Doc.
Yeah, I know you're sad. I'm not going to let you mope in the darkness. At least have some light.
Yeah. Doomsday aired in the same week as the 2006 World Cup finale. So, Radio Times magazine did covers of a team of Cybermen and a team of Daleks on a football pitch.
I love that.
Oh, you like that?
I love that. I want to see it.
I'll show it to you after.
No, I want to actually see it.
Oh, you want to watch the game?
I want to watch the game.
Daleks play. It looked like a game of Rocket League, wouldn't it? Just the Daleks playing football. This is the only finale in Russell T Davies's first era that doesn't feature Captain Jack Harkness or a regeneration scene.
Oh.
So there you go. There was a disagreement as to who should rescue Rose in the end. Noel Clarke and Phil Collinson wanted Mickey to be the one to save her, where Russell T Davies and Julie Gardner wanted Pete.
Yeah.
Pete was decided to emphasise that he had accepted Rose as a surrogate daughter.
I agree, because Jackie and Pete kind of, they have that argument when Pete's like, come on, and Jackie shouts at him, and she's like, you know, I've been without you for 20 years of my life.
So button it.
Yeah, button it. She's like, she's my daughter.
And he says, your daughter, not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of that. So the fact that he's risked it, I guess he also shows how much he loves Jackie as well.
Yeah. But there is a logistical thing with the way he saves Rose, isn't it? Of like, how did he know when and where he needed to do that? When he landed, why didn't he also get sucked in? Why were they just standing there? Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of logistical, because did he put a button around Rose? Was the fact that he was holding her why he was able to pull her back?
I think that's enough, because when Jake takes the Doctor there earlier, the Doctor doesn't have it around his neck.
No, but then how come Mickey couldn't have taken Rose when they were in...
Good question. Good point. Don't know.
Yeah, I know. I try not to think about these things too much. I noticed them. I try not to bring them up, but sometimes I haven't got answers.
Yeah. Russell T Davies said that killing Rose off was never an option, as it went against the show's optimistic worldview, but it would take a calamity of cosmic proportions to separate her from the Doctor.
I love it. Oh, we can't kill her off because it would go against
the show's optimistic worldview. Cut to Bill Potts.
I was going to say, that doesn't last.
To be fair, I feel like Bill Potts... No, I was going to say Bill Potts is the first time Stephen Moffat wrote a character that he killed off and then actually let her stay dead. But no, that's not true, really.
No.
Stephen Moffat doesn't let anyone stay dead.
Well, that's good. Because you get the sadness of like, oh God, they died. But then also the kind of thing of like, they kind of lived on a little bit.
Yeah, but the sadness doesn't mean anything.
I mean, she didn't live on. She did die.
She did die, but it's one of those things where it's like River Song dying but living on as a data ghost. It's like Clara dying but living on in her final heartbeat.
Yeah.
And it's like Bill dying but being, I don't know, matter with a space puddle. And it's like, just let people stay dead, man.
No. I disagree. Don't do it.
Amy and Rory died, but not really. They're just living in the 40s.
Yeah. Rose died, but not really. She was just sucked into a parallel world.
That's right. But I feel like...
They all died on paper.
Yeah, that's fair. And my last note, this was the last episode to be filmed at Unit Q2 in Newport.
Oh.
From The Runaway Bride onwards, the show relocates to Upper Boat Studios.
Oh.
Which is literally not a 10-minute drive from where we live.
Yeah.
I pass it nearly every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool.
It's not still there, is it? Like, the building's still there.
The building's still there. It's obviously not the Doctor Who studios anymore. Back when they moved it there, I think it was from 2007 up to about 2011, 2012. Doctor Who was obviously filmed there. That's where the TARDIS set was and everything. That's also where they were doing all the sets for Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood. It was all being done in that one building.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's on our doorstep.
Yeah.
That's fun. But yeah, that's everything I've got for Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Do you have anything to add?
No, not really. It was just a strong episode.
You liked an episode written by Russell T Davies. Round of applause, everybody.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, I was going to say I like many of them, but I don't know how many of them I like that were written by Russell, because I just think are all...
I mean, if we go from the beginning, right? Rose.
No.
End of the World.
Oh, yeah.
Aliens of London, World War III. Long Game.
Nah.
Bad Wolf, Parting of the Ways. New Earth. Oh, obviously, Christmas Invasion, I missed. New Earth. Was Tooth and Claw Russell? I think it was. Then you've got... It might just be these then. Oh, and Love and Monsters.
Oh, yeah, because that's the one. That's the one that's going to change my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just think of these seasons.
Applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I just think these like seasons or series as like Russell's work.
Well, that's the thing you do, don't you? It's like you forget. Like I think Moffat did more writing in his era.
Yeah.
But then again, Russell was managing like 3 spin-offs at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Because even if he didn't write the episode, he was doing a lot of rewrites. He was managing the show. He was show running it and kind of leading the general arc and everything. So yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, applause, ladies and gentlemen. Charlotte liked an episode written by RTD. Woo.
That's so rude. Don't at me like that. The Jets.
You're not the only one that complains. People have nostalgia for this era of the show, but a lot of people critique his writing. So don't worry about it. Oh, hello, Siri. Right, yeah. So is that it?
That's about it, really.
Yep, cool.
Next week, hopefully, we're going to be doing the series wrap up.
Yeah, series 2 recap. You got a quiz for me?
I will.
You will have one, yeah. And we'll assume do our episode rankings again?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be a similar format to the one last time.
Cool. If you missed that, go check that one out.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, thank you all very much for listening. We
Yeah.
appreciate you very much, as always. Don't forget to click that subscribe button to keep up with everything that we're posting, because sometimes it's good.
Yeah. I'll just put like a little thing out here. We kind of made it clear from the start that we do this because we want to do it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to put stuff up like on a set deadline. We'll try, but if stuff gets in the way, then it gets in the way.
We still want this to be fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We don't want it to feel like a job. It wouldn't be that bad if we actually were getting paid for it.
Yeah. But yeah, and we don't want to rush stuff either. We don't want to
We don't want to do subpar episodes. We don't want to watch episodes when we're not really in the mood for it, because then when we're talking about it, we kind of see it in a more negative light and all that stuff. So yeah, we're still hoping to kind of keep this up at a consistent pace, but I think because we've been doing more or less 2 episodes a week at the moment, it's been a bit of a crunch.
Yeah.
So yeah. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, again, thank you all for listening. We do appreciate you. Leave a comment down below. Say something nice to Charlotte.
No.
She wants to hear it.
Say something bad.
Say something bad. No, please. No.
No.
I can't take it. But yeah. You can check us out over on YouTube Music, on Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, whatever your platform of choice is. But yeah, with that in mind, we'll see you in the next episode. Well, technically the next episode will be the series recap, but after that, we will meet Donna Noble at Christmas time. Mm-hmm. But until then, stay safe. Stay away from the void.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or hell.
Both.
Both.
Stay away from hell.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.